An autonomous car is a vehicle capable of sensing its environment and operating without human involvement. A human passenger is not required to take control of the vehicle at any time, nor is a human passenger required to be present in the vehicle at all. An autonomous car can go anywhere a traditional car goes and do everything that an experienced human driver does. Imagine getting into your car, typing, or better yet, speaking a location into your vehicle's interface, then letting it drive you to your destination while you read a book, surf the web, or nap. Self-driving vehicles, the stuff of science fiction since the first roads were paved, are coming, and they're going to radically change what it's like to get from point A to point B. In 2009, Google started the self-driving car project with the goal of driving autonomously over 10 uninterrupted 100-mile routes. In 2016, Waymo, an autonomous driving technology company, became a subsidiary of Alphabet, and Google's self-driving project became Waymo. Since then, Waymo has invited the public to join the first public trial of autonomous vehicles operated by the Waymo driver and introduced its first fully autonomous vehicles operated by the Waymo driver on public roads without anyone in the driver's seat. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll look at self-driving cars in 2023 and how they work. But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more similar content. Let's dive in. How do autonomous cars work? Autonomous cars rely on sensors, actuators, complex algorithms, machine learning systems, and powerful processors to execute software. Autonomous cars create and maintain a map of their surroundings based on a variety of sensors situated in different parts of the vehicle. Radar sensors monitor the position of nearby vehicles. Video cameras detect traffic lights, read road signs, track other vehicles, and look for pedestrians. LiDAR, light detection and ranging sensors, bounce pulses of light off the car's surroundings to measure distances, detect road edges, and identify lane markings. Ultrasonic sensors in the wheels detect curbs and other vehicles when parking. Sophisticated software then processes all this sensory input, plots a path, and sends instructions to the car's actuators, which control acceleration, braking, and steering. Hard-coded rules, obstacle avoidance algorithms, predictive modeling, and object recognition help the software follow traffic rules and navigate obstacles. What are the challenges with autonomous cars? Fully autonomous, Level 5 cars are undergoing testing in several pockets of the world, but none are yet available to the general public. We're still years away from that. The challenges range from the technological and legislative to the environmental and philosophical. Here are just some of the unknowns. LiDAR and radar. LiDAR is expensive and is still trying to strike the right balance between range and resolution. If multiple autonomous cars were to drive on the same road, would their LiDAR signals interfere with one another? And if multiple radio frequencies are available, will the frequency range be enough to support mass production of autonomous cars? Weather conditions. What happens when an autonomous car drives in heavy precipitation? If there's a layer of snow on the road, lane dividers disappear. How will the cameras and sensors track lane markings if the markings are obscured by water, oil, ice, or debris? Traffic conditions and laws. Will autonomous cars have trouble in tunnels or on bridges? How will they do in bumper-to-bumper traffic? Will autonomous cars be relegated to a specific lane? Will they be granted carpool lane access? And what about the fleet of legacy cars still sharing the roadways for the next 20 or 30 years? State versus federal regulation. The regulatory process in the US has recently shifted from federal guidance to state-by-state mandates for autonomous cars. Some states have even proposed a per-mile tax on autonomous vehicles to prevent the rise of zombie cars driving around without passengers. Lawmakers have also written bills proposing that all autonomous cars must be zero-emission vehicles and have a panic button installed. But are the laws going to be different from state to state? Will you be able to cross state lines with an autonomous car? Accident liability. Who is liable for accidents caused by an autonomous car? The manufacturer? The human passenger? The latest blueprints suggest that a fully autonomous Level 5 car will not have a dashboard or a steering wheel, so a human passenger would not even have the option to take control of the vehicle in an emergency. Artificial versus emotional intelligence. Human drivers rely on subtle cues and nonverbal communication, like making eye contact with pedestrians or reading the facial expressions and body language of other drivers to make split-second judgment calls and predict behaviors. Will autonomous cars be able to replicate this connection? Will they have the same life-saving instincts as human drivers? What are the benefits of autonomous cars? The scenarios for convenience and quality of life improvements are limitless. The elderly and the physically disabled would have independence. If your kids were at summer camp and forgot their bathing suits and toothbrushes, the car could bring them the missing items. You could even send your dog to a veterinary appointment. But the real promise of autonomous cars is the potential for dramatically lowering CO2 emissions. In a recent study, experts identified 3 trends that, if adopted concurrently, would unleash the full potential of autonomous cars: vehicle automation, vehicle electrification, and ride-sharing. By 2050, these 3 revolutions in urban transportation could reduce traffic congestion, 30% fewer vehicles on the road, cut transportation costs by 40% in terms of vehicles, fuel, and infrastructure, improve walkability and livability, free up parking lots for other uses, schools, parks, community centers, reduce urban CO2 emissions by 80% worldwide. With the adoption of any new revolutionary technology, it is predicted there will be problems for businesses that don't adjust fast enough to future developments in self-driving car technology. Futurists estimate that hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions, will be lost by automakers, suppliers, dealers, insurers, parking companies, and many other car-related enterprises. And think of the lost revenue for governments via licensing fees, taxes, and tolls, and by personal injury lawyers. Who needs a car made with heavier gauge steel and 8 airbags, not to mention a body shop, if accidents are so rare? Who needs a parking spot close to work if your car can drive you there, park itself miles away, only to pick you up later? Who needs to buy a flight from Boston to Cleveland when you can leave in the evening, sleep much of the way, and arrive in the morning? Indeed, one of Google's goals is to facilitate car sharing. That means fewer cars on the road. Fewer cars, period. Who needs to own a car when you can just order a shared one and it'll drive up minutes later, ready to take you wherever you want? Automated ride-sharing is expected to dramatically reduce the number of cars on the road, especially considering 67.8% of people commute to work alone. Transportation is the second biggest household expense in 2021 at 16%, almost $11,000 a year, for an asset that they only drove for an hour a day on average. In 2050, self-driving cars are expected to create approximately $800 billion worth of opportunities for automakers and technology developers, said a report by Securing America's Future Energy, SAFE. Software developers stand to win big. However it plays out, these vehicles are coming, and fast. Their full adoption will take decades, but their convenience, cost, safety, and other factors will make them ubiquitous and indispensable. Such as with any technological revolution, the companies that plan ahead, adjust the fastest, and imagine the biggest will survive and thrive. And companies invested in old technology and practices will need to evolve or risk dying. That was all from us today for this video, folks. For more similar content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.